Welcome, Waypoint kids. I'm so glad you could join me today. We are going to be talking about science. How many of you like science? Do you like chemistry? Do you like experiments? Do you like trying new things? We can learn a lot from science. Science helps us to find new cures, to predicting hurricanes and weather storms, and even getting into space. And now this series, we're going to be using science to help give us some clues and some information and some reminders about God and His stories. Now, some of the parents out there watching with you might be wondering, science and faith, how do those things go together? Science is based on facts and figures and information and things that we can see. And faith, if you all remember, we've talked about this before, faith is about believing in what we do not see. Now, today I've got an experiment for us. So you're going to need an empty plastic bottle, and you're going to need some rubbing alcohol. And what you're going to do is open up your plastic bottle, and you're going to pour just a little bit of rubbing alcohol into your bottle. And you're going to pour a little bit of this rubbing alcohol into the bottle, and then you're going to put the lid back on your water bottle, and you're going to swirl this around. And then what you're going to do is, with the lid on, you're going to start to twist your water bottle. And it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but you're going to twist it, and then you want to focus in on the water bottle to watch what happens when I let go. Do you see the cloud inside your water bottle? This cloud is going to help us remember our story today. The cloud that we're talking about is the cloud that Moses and the Israelites were following when they were being led out of Egypt. We have a video that we're going to be watching that talks, and it shows us how Moses helped to lead his people out.
The Faithful Hall of Fame, Moses. This is Moses, who was an Israelite born in Egypt in a time when Israelite boys were not supposed to live.
Wait, huh?
Moses, however, grew up in the palace of the Pharaoh, the very man who was enslaving the Israelite people. When Moses grew up, he made a big mistake and fled Egypt to live with the Midianites. But God called Moses back to Egypt to deliver his people with the help of his brother Aaron. After God showed his miraculous power in Egypt, he led the Israelites through the Red Sea and towards the Promised Land. They followed God, who showed himself as a cloud by day and fire by night. As God led them through the wilderness, the Israelites became thirsty and hungry. They complained to Moses and Aaron and said, "If only we had died in Egypt." God said to Moses that he would provide for his people. Each morning they awoke and found manna for the day.
What's that?
And each night God gave them meat. The people were still thirsty, and they were mad at Moses, saying, "Did you bring us out here to die of thirst?" So Moses cried out to God, and God told Moses to strike a rock, and water came flowing out of it for the people to drink. And so the Lord provided for his people's needs. After traveling in the desert for 3 months, they came to Mount Sinai, and God called Moses from the top of the mountain. God spoke to Moses there of the future of his people and reminded him of the miracles of the past. After 3 days, there was thunder and lightning as a thick cloud covered the mountain. The people heard a loud trumpet blast. And Moses led people to the foot of the mountain to meet with God. God told them how his people were to live and how they were to honor him and respect each other. The Israelites had seen for themselves that God had spoken to Moses from heaven. These rules that God told them are called the 10 Commandments. And the Israelites feared God, for his mighty power had brought them out of slavery and provided for them in the desert.
If you would like to turn to your Bible, you can read the story in your Bible. It's in Exodus 13, 21 through 22, and Exodus 40, 33 through 38. But in this story, the Israelites had never left Egypt. They hadn't been out for generations, and they didn't have maps, and they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know where they were going, and there was no one really to guide them there. But God was there. God came, and he used a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. And when the people would wake up, they would see that the cloud was still outside, and it would be there in the dark. God was with them all the time. He wanted his people to know that he was always with them. He wanted his people to trust him enough to know that he would be there always. So the story of the pillar of the cloud and the pillar of fire reminds us that God is still with us. Even though we can't see him today, he wants us to know that he is still with us. We have some other stories from the Bible. When we go into the New Testament, and it talks about God protecting the missionaries, Peter and Paul, and he was there with them. We have other stories from the Bible. Daniel was thrown into a lion's den, but none of the mouths of the lions were opened. That's because God was there and he shut them. There's another story of Daniel and his 3 friends, and they were thrown into a fiery furnace. But when people were watching, they saw 4 people, not 3. So who else was in there? It was God. God was there with them. He is always, always with us. So we may not see God in a pillar of fire. We may not see God in the clouds. But we know that when we're watching the clouds in the sky, when we go outside and we see them, we can know that he's always with us and that he will never leave us and that he loves us. I hope that you guys enjoyed this lesson today. We do have some crafts that we can do today. You're going to need a craft stick and a piece of white paper and a piece of red paper. And you'll need some clouds, which are actually cotton balls, and then some glue and scissors. And what you're going to do is make a fire shape out of your red, and then you can add some markers to make it look like a fire. And then you're going to cut out a cloud shape, and then you're going to put some glue on the paper, and then you can spread out your clouds, spread out your cotton balls, and put them on the glue. And then on our craft sticks, we're going to put a cloud on one side and the fire on the other to help remind us of the cloud and the fire, and God is always with us. And then later today, maybe you guys might want to make a snack. Well, here's what we're gonna need. You can use a couple different things. This has got some chocolate frosting in it, but maybe you might want vanilla frosting or some marshmallow whip or peanut butter. Whatever you have at home is great. And then you're going to need a pretzel rod. You're gonna actually need 2 of them. And then we're going to need a fruit roll-up or a fruit by the foot and some mini marshmallows. And what you're going to do is take one of your pretzel sticks, and you're going to spread some of the frosting all around your pretzel stick. And then you can take your marshmallows and stick them on your pretzel stick, and now you can eat your own cloud. We're also going to make a pillar of fire. So you again would take the frosting, spread it all around your pretzel rod, and then we're going to open up a fruit by the foot and unwrap it and pull the wrapper off, and then you're going to wrap your fruit by the foot around your pretzel stick, and you have your own pillar of fire. I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson. I hope that you try the experiment at home. I hope you try the snack at home and enjoy. Have a great day.